Well, number one, I hope that we're as healthy as we can be. I think with all the issues that we had last week, to give us at least a chance, you want to be healthy. You want to be healthy. You want to have your members there, and you want to have an offensive line that can be as cohesive and exhibit as much synergy as possible. So the more reps they can get this week together with Coach Morgan working on those fundamentals and all the stuff that's really, really important, I think the better chance we have at applying whatever it is we want to apply. If we're going to apply that run game, we're going to apply our play action, our pass, whatever it is we need to be effective with, it starts up front.
Yep.
Well, to your point, Lance, talking about the offensive line, they're certainly up against it in the injury report. Darnell Wright did not practice. He's listed as day-to-day at this point. Keenan Allen and Kari Blasingame did return to practice. I think Blasingame getting back in the action is something that Bears fans might not go as noticed, but I think it's pretty significant. But then Alex, I'll ask you, and then Lance, you can jump in here as well. But with Larry Borum on IR, Ryan Bates on IR, two offensive linemen that they need at this point. Now you've got Darnell Wright day to day, uncertainty of whether or not he'll play. What would you do here if you're Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus on trying to figure out how you want to do the right side of the line? Are you doing Karan Amagaji, a third-round pick that hasn't practiced much because he's been injured, starting at right tackle as a rookie, or do you bump Matt Pryor out to right tackle, let Nate Davis get back in at right guard, trying to shake out, because Matt Eberflus said trying to find our best five on the offensive line. How do you go about doing that this week?
I don't think there's any one way to do it. I think you try all of it until you figure out the most cohesive unit that's playing the best football together. You have to continue to try it and see what works. Now, this is when you figure out if Waldron, Eberflus, and that coaching staff on the offensive side of football is worth the money they're being paid, because anybody can coach the damn 2000 St. Louis Rams, the offense. Hell, just throw them out there and let them do their thing. You know what I mean? You got Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers at every position. Hell, you ain't got to do much. Now, when you're short-staffed and you're short-handed, some players, how are you able to keep things rolling until you start getting those pieces back? Lance played against a team that did just that back 2010, I'm going to say, when the Green Bay Packers couldn't seem to they couldn't seem to stay healthy throughout the whole season, and then they finally started to get some pieces back. They kind of held things together, and then they went on a run and won the Super Bowl, I want to say. Yeah. And they unfortunately beat y'all in the NFC Championship, right? I think that was 2010. So sorry to bring that up, but I wasn't on that team. So yeah,
it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You know what?
But, so I think this is when you figure out your coaching and see if they're worth the money they're being paid, because they got to go to work now. They got to figure out how they can protect their team and keep him upright. Because when you look at what he's been doing, he's been getting better each and every week. Now, what we have seen the last 2 weeks, he has 2 interceptions each game. That we got to get rid of, because what correlates with that, the game he didn't turn the ball over, we won against the Titans. And then the game he turned the ball over twice, you gotta take care of the football. If he takes care of the football, I think we get a chance to win, because even in those games where he turned the ball over, we still have a chance to win. So if you don't give them those plays, then I think we got an even better chance to win. We might even win one of those games. So protect the football, and we're going to see if Waldron and them is worth their salt.
I think the bigger question, because as we're media, we see limited practice, or did not practice, but there's a lot of value in the walkthrough. So, if they're involved in the walkthrough, if they're in the walkthrough going through the ones, that is a sign that they're getting their quality reps. And for a lot of these veterans, you get to a point where, the walkthrough was my practice my last 2 years. That was my practice, was the walkthrough, because I wasn't going to practice. I was limited for the whole doggone year, once we started really getting after it. And so the walkthrough is more indicative of what to expect from their offensive line when you have guys that are banged up and they're trying to take care of their bodies and save their bodies for the training room.
See, Bragg, see, this is the BS that I have to put up with right here. Briggs always thinking that everybody ain't at a Pro Bowl level. Everybody don't have a Pro Bowl Hall of Fame ceiling. So you can sit and watch and then go play at a Pro Bowl level. Ain't nobody on this offensive line making the Pro Bowl. Ain't nobody. Boy, you are on the Hall of Fame ballot. Okay?
Yes.
You should get in this year. I really hope you do get in. But ain't
But
nobody on this offensive line that's on that level.
That's you're right.
So okay, so why you talking about him watching it and going out and
it's
playing?
2024, and the league has shifted to a softer mentality.
A visual practice.
Yeah, it's the way that it's done. It's the way that it's done.
It is. It just I needed to say that because you act like we're all in your same boat, and we are not, sir.
And depending on the coach that you have. Listen, depending on the coach that you have, when Trestman took over, all right, he wanted all of our practices to be indoor. He wanted all of our practices to be indoor. We had to convince him. Now, on the flip side, with Lovey and Dick,
we're trying to go indoor.
Right, we're like, hey, you think we can go indoor once this week? And
it's a negative 12 out here.
Yeah,
yeah.
For this guy, it's like, hey, coach, we're an outside team. We really need to be outside. So it really depends on the mentality of who's in charge too.
Well, let me ask you guys this. A lot of fans and media are talking about this, but Roschon Johnson certainly got an uptick in looks and felt like he provided a little bit of a spark and some thump in there, with DeAndre Swift's kind of struggling behind that offensive line to find his groove and trying to find some identity with the running game. Do you think that they need to start looking at Roschon Johnson as a guy that can kind of set the tone? You guys talked about setting the tone earlier, talking about your other stories, from back in the day. Is Roschon Johnson the type of guy that can set the tone for this offense here on Sunday?
I don't think there's any question. Roschon's he is going to split the carries 100%. He'll split the carries for sure going into this game. And maybe the third down will be Swift. Let's say third and 4 or more. Now I'll have Swift in there, but I am definitely getting Roschon more involved. I think he's more of a downhill runner. He's a stronger runner. I think he can break arm tackles, and I have not seen that out of Swift yet. Actually, I don't think Swift has been kind of bad. He's been really bad. Now the offensive line ain't blocking a whole lot, but hell, he's been really, really bad.
I'm not giving up on Swift. You pay good money. You pay good money for him. And what I did see, there were plays where he did look very explosive, and he took a screen pass and got up to the second level fast. I think he is underutilized. I think in a way, I think he's underutilized. I think you use him in a lot of different ways, unique ways. And when I mention Swift, I think of the Detroit Lions, and how they use Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think that he can be used in a lot of those similar ways. It has been a struggle because up front, that's just, we know where we're at up front.
Yeah, we don't have Penei Sewell.
Right. You're right. You're right.
Oh yeah, it's a lot different.
But the crazy thing about that, man, and man, I don't know how many times we're gonna continue to go back and say what we could have done, but the opportunities to build that line, and when you say, man, when I say, look, we have a DeAndre Swift that I'm not giving up on. He hasn't had a good start to the year, but I have seen some clips of him being very explosive. We load that doggone line, the things that we would be able to do with the players that we could have had outside of Rome Odunze. Okay, outside of him, I'm just saying the players that we still would have had there's so much we would have been able to do production-wise.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some, Shane Waldron's at the podium. Those of you that are obviously going to be tuning into this tonight, but we're recording this early, and Shane Waldron is at the podium right now, kind of talking about some of this stuff you guys are talking about. Shane Waldron talking about the running game, saying, I think for us, it's the rhythm of the run game, trusting it. We've done a great job in practice reps, but not executing it in games. And when he talked about that 4th and 1 play that we're all still pretty upset about, he said, not getting into the schematics on every play, but I have to put us in a better position. And then finally, when asked about DeAndre Carter having to be the guy that blocked on the edge for a couple of those goal line carries, trying to put DeAndre Carter up against the defensive end, he said, Shane Waldron, and I quote, "We can do a better job. DeAndre will do anything asked of him, but that's one of those moments we can do better as a coaching staff." So some accountability coming from your play caller and offensive coordinator, but obviously still trying to figure out how they want to put their personnel in the right positions to make plays.
Well, my follow-up question would have been, did you think that was going to work in the first place with DeAndre Carter coming across and knowing he have to block that defensive end?
Because you didn't break the huddle till 10 seconds.
No. I'm talking about on Wednesday. When you ran that on Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
Like, why did you think that would work? Like, I don't know. Hopefully they've gotten rid of that for this upcoming week. I don't want DeAndre Carter blocking anything.
How do you get a whole offensive coaching staff to sign off on that? Just not a receiver coach just like, listen, coach, what are we doing?
Yes.
Is this what we're gonna do?
Mercedes is right there on the sideline.
Yeah.
He can motion and pick up that defensive end from there.
Come on.
Forget the personnel.
There's not a coaching staff in this world that you and I would be in, and we would see a fallacy like that on tape and not speak up and say, coaches, this is not going to work.
Right.
Listen, now, if that's what you want to do, because hey, you're the DC, I'm going to put this out there and say, listen, we have a problem here.
Mm-hmm. Like or a bigger receiver. Don't get your smallest receiver to do this.
Right.
You saw this last year. They did it with Tyler Scott and Darnell Mooney time and again, trying to get those guys to block the edge at one point last year against the New Orleans Saints. Actually, on a touchdown pass to Cole Kmet, Tyler Scott was blocking the top defensive end for the New Orleans Saints, and he got the job done, but barely. I mean, you're really
Cam Jordan should be ashamed of himself if he let that happen.
Alex, you never let a wide receiver block you on the edge, right?
No, I ain't gonna say that now because the people they'll fact check me and they'll find
absolutely
where Hines Ward probably had me hemmed up.
But not put
Hines Ward had me hemmed up on the sideline, so I ain't gonna say that.
David Boston had him, boy.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say that.
David Boston had you in handcuffs.
Yeah, you never know. There's a lot of plays. There's a lot of football plays, and stuff happens.
It does.
Well, you're talking about coaching, and to me, I think the biggest matchup of this game is off on the sidelines, where you have Sean McVay versus Matt Eberflus.
Yep.
Obviously, a lot of questions going on with our coaching staff right now, but Matt Eberflus has implemented a pretty damn good defense so far this year. Sean McVay's reputation speaks for itself. Lance, I'll start with you, man. What are your expectations of this matchup and the chess match that'll go on between these two?
I tell you right now, if we don't have our stuff together, all right, Sean McVay is sunning coaches after games every week. All right, I don't know if you saw him. He sunned Shanahan. He sunned Shanahan, had the hand over the head after the handshake. Like, hey man, you'll be all right, buddy. You'll be all right, buddy. All right? You're gonna find yourself on the bad end of a sunning head toss from McVay. We don't get our stuff together. That's what I do know. We have to commit to the run. I don't know about this rhythm stuff. I don't like what is rhythm to me. Like what beat are we talking to? Are we talking a EDM beat? Are we talking Afro Latino beat? I don't know what we're talking about. All right. What I'm looking for is a commitment to actually pushing the pile and getting positive yards and being okay with saying, okay, 4 yards or more is we are happy with that. We're happy with that, and that's going to set up what we're going to do next.
Yeah, I think Eberflus is going to have his hands full. I also think McVay going to have his hands full because I think Eberflus is very good on defense. As a defensive, calling defensive plays or getting his defense ready to play at a high level. I think he's very good at adjusting at halftime. But in this particular game, I'm hoping that he understands he might have to adjust after the first quarter because McVay is really, really good at scheming. And when you got a guy like Cooper Kupp and he becomes a household name, and then you put in a guy like Puka Nacua and he becomes a household name over a year, it turns into scheme. And you have to figure out who they're trying to get to be that guy. Is it going to be Demarcus Robinson? Is it going to be Tutu? I think it's Tutu Atwell, I think his name. I think that's his name. Who is it going to be? But like Lance said, you got to stop the run. Kyron Williams is going to – he is at this point, with all the injuries they have on offense, is going to be Kyron Williams and then getting after – you cannot – a veteran quarterback like Matthew Stafford, you cannot allow him to sit back there and not be harassed in the pocket because he will deliver the football. And if you allow that, you'll get beat, and you'll get beat soundly. So we got to make sure that front four, they come ready to play. They come ready to play, getting off blocks, making plays, stopping the run with 6. If we can stop the run with 6, that'll make it a lot easier on the back end to cover these guys and cover these different route concepts, route combos. It'll make it a lot easier because McVay, he gonna be ready now. He's gonna be ready. This is a challenge for him. And when you got an offensive coordinator, I mean, you got that challenge like, can I do it without my top 2 guys in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, right? Can I make it happen? I sent you guys Gerald Everett, right? So he's now on your team. I can do it without them. I can make it happen without him, and I think that's a challenge that he's going to be ready for.
It's part of the fun part of breaking down and finding the tendency and saying, okay, what kind of team has this Rams offense become because of injuries, and what have they needed to do in order to be successful? It'll show. You know, when you're missing receivers like that, you know, there are certain things that you have to do in order to produce and find ways to win. And that's one of the things they have been able to do, you know, in these first 3 weeks. So how have they been able to do it? And how have they been able to do it with injuries to some of their best players? All right. And because of that, now, you know, going into week 4, you've shown your hand now. So who you are in going into week 4, there are now heavy tendencies, and now you can look at who's getting the ball, personnel, player wise. You know who's a stud up front. Who maybe there's a reason why they're running right all the time, or more than they run left. You know, what are they using? Are they getting the ball out to the receivers because they can't just run power offense, or do they really believe in and they commit to that run to set everything else up? They have a hell of a quarterback also in Stanford.
Correct. And that's where I was going to go with that, because last week with Richardson, they don't want to put that pressure on Richardson to go win the football game. They want to run it. So they got to keep Jonathan Taylor involved throughout the game. If you shut down Kyron Williams, they can give it to Matthew Stafford and say, go win it. Throw the ball 52 times in the game and let's go win the football game. I think they have confidence that he can go do that. So you got to be good. You got to be sound in the run. You got to stop the run. You give up 100 yards rushing in this game, I don't think they win. I don't. You got to stop the run. So you make them one-dimensional. Now we can get after the quarterback, and you got to sack. You got to sack Stafford. Gosh, I see them throwing the ball at least 43 times.
Bro, here's a crazy stat about Matthew Stafford. Okay, when Matthew Stafford was at Detroit, okay, he would go under center, and when he was under center and his feet were even, it was 100% read, it was a run. If his foot was back, it was 100% read, it was pass. And we looked, we're getting ready. Obviously, we play the Lions each year, but we're looking at it. This is a young Matt Stafford. This is a young Matt Stafford. And I'm like, man, we are in week 6 or 7 now. He's done it every game. We're like it's 100% key. Why isn't anybody telling him this? Or is it, you know what I mean? And so in the game, man, I'm telling you, I'm 3 yards in the backfield, man. I'm like, looks like run. You know what I mean? And he ended up fixing that. He ended up fixing it into that year, like toward the back end of that year. But I'll just tell you how far he's come in the game. I mean, guys won a Super Bowl, and just like you said, if they want to give it to him to win this game. So you can run the ball. You can commit to run game, because whenever you need Stafford's arm, it's there. It's there to burn whatever, or torch whatever defense isn't ready.
What's crazy is that when you say that, I think it gives everybody watching, it gives the fans an idea of just how detailed we are and looking for any advantage that we can take advantage of throughout a football game. I don't give a damn if you get up and you remember, and I know everybody remember this guy, Antonio Brown, when he came up as a receiver and he put his hands, he did this right here. He getting them gloves tight. Yeah, it's a pass. It might not go to him, but it's a pass.
But it's a pass.
When he don't do it, it's a run. And it's like, really? Like, this is crazy. Like, little stuff. Anything that can give me an advantage, his feet being even and then slightly off, like, it gave me 100%.
You're always looking for the 100%.
100% is over, because I'm all in. I'm going for it.
Here's a 100% tendency that sucked. All right, now we're playing against the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers. We're looking for something, right? Aaron Rodgers, when he drops straight back and throws the ball, he's got 100%, completion rate. All right, and then to the right and to the left, it's like 99.7. 99.7, okay? When he scrambles to his right, it's 99.8, okay? So we're like, all right, well, what about when he scrambles? When he scrambles to his left, it's 99.3. So when we're looking at it, we're like, oh, he doesn't miss. No matter what he's doing, he doesn't miss. All right? Because you want to find something, a quarterback that scrambles. Okay, so we can get him to scramble to his left. He's right-handed. His accuracy goes down a bit. Couldn't find one. We couldn't find it.
We played Minnesota at their place, and it was right after Bernard Berrien had left. He had left the Bears and got a nice little contract, a nice big contract actually, up in Minnesota. And I think Peanut, I might get this wrong, so Peanut, correct me if I'm wrong here. But when it's 2-by-2 and the quarterback drop back and he looks right and he comes back left, he never throws to one. Never.
I was on the field, and I remember before the game, Peanut said, I'm a little nervous about this play. I'm a little nervous about it. You know what I mean? I remember.
When I tell you, we're on the 1 yard line, y'all. We're on the 1 yard line. 2-by-2, quarterback drop back, and I'll be damned if he ain't look right. Came back left, and Peanut squeezed from there. Once he looked right, you come off your guy and go to 2, because he never goes to 1 ever. And I'm gonna tell you, it was our fault as a defensive line because we didn't get pressure on him. So he was able to go right, come back left, then see 1, and then throw it to 1. That's too much time for the defensive line. So I take some beat.
That was Brett Favre.
No, I don't know if it was.
That was Brett Favre.
Was it? Oh,
yes, they went to the NFC Championship game.
I was dying. Like, this is nuts. Like, and I'm hot at Peanut. And then he explained it to him on the sideline. All right, 100%. 100%, AB. All right, fuck, man. Damn. Like, all right.
He talked to me about that play, and he said he's like, they have a he's like, this is what it says. He said, but I'm nervous because Brett Favre, you know what I mean? It's Brett Favre. And I just, I'm nervous about this because I can get hung out on this. And of course, when I look up and I see Bernard going, and I'm loafing on the way because I don't know catch it.
Hey, listen, we played with Bernard for 4 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody catching it now. Ain't nobody catching it. He gone.
But you don't want to be but you never want to be on film.
Loafing.
Not at least heading that way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in the blend, so I'm at least
high knees. So, final question for you guys. Basically, is Sunday a must-win in your guys' eyes? Bears sitting at 1-2, trying to get back to 500. It is still early in the season, but when you consider the schedule, the second half of the year, compared to what you have to do the first half of the year, do you guys consider this game a must-win?
I don't personally. I think it's a little more important than just a normal win. I think that when it comes down to it, it will be the Rams and the Bears will be right there as far as maybe that last two to get in. And you want to have this win under your belt if it comes down to a tiebreaker between you and the Rams. So in that sense, I think it would be a really good win to have. But when you say must win, I just think if you don't win it, the season's over. And I don't believe that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the last two games have been frustrating, but they were 2 road games and they were 2 AFC games as well. So now you're playing within your conference and you have a home game. Lance, where do you stand? Must win?
Every week is a must win. And it shouldn't be treated any lighter than that. Okay. Anybody treats a football game on Sunday, lighter than a must win. All right. Listen,
we're not playing.
I can't use it. Like my good man Mike Singletary says, I don't want them. Can't use them. We go out there to win. You go out there,
we're not playing. We're analysts.
Hold on, man. Didn't he ask me why are you? But you had the floor, and I was silent. And now you want to cut me off because you don't care about a win, huh? All right. Be that guy. It's fine.
Briggs is coach speaking you now, Alex. Briggs is in the trenches. He's the coach right now. So
Briggs. Now, you know what I did, Briggs? I coached McVay right here. There you go, big guy. Here you go. Move out of the way, huh?
Yeah, you gotta. There you go, little buddy. There you go, little buddy.
Fine. Yep.
We all silly like the mayor.